Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Power of Choosing.
Today's topic is you don't need to agree with me. So I was thinking about this the other day and looking back at my childhood and how I had this feeling that I needed to be the same as everyone else. And I needed people to understand what I'm saying and to believe the same thing as me. And if they didn't, then, oh no, what would happen? I'd be seen as wrong and wouldn't fit in and all this stuff. So then this topic of like, you don't need to agree with me feels really edgy. And it's only in the past couple of years when I've done the work on myself and we've had these conversations that it's like a realization that not everyone is going to agree with you, and that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. It's actually interesting. I constantly say this in general in my conversations, like, you don't have to agree with me because I feel like we've really gotten conditioned where it's like, that people pleaser in us, that wanting to be liked, all of the things. And so if I say something and you don't agree with me, there might be rejection. There might be a whole bunch of stuff that falls in place if you don't agree with me. So a lot of times I will say, you don't have to agree with me. And it softens it for me personally because I'm so conditioned to want to be liked. And so I love putting that in my conversations with people because it's a reminder to me and also to the other person, you don't have to agree with me where we typically are trying to agree with others.
Yeah, and I think it's an evolutionary thing where we have this need to be liked, to be wanted, to be part of the group. Because,
Yes,
like, back in the way back times, if you weren't, you would probably die because you all really needed each other and that community. And now it's not so important, and we have way more opinions on way more things than they ever did, but we still get that same feeling. And if you say something and then no one else agrees, it can like really hark back to that time of like, oh no, like what's going to happen? And the answer is nothing. So even
correct.
just saying it is this release of like, oh, people don't have to agree with me. So it opens up the possibility of I can really be myself and people can still love me and we can still be friends. And what does that mean going forward in my life if I'm really true to who I am?
Hmm. Yeah. A couple things that come to me every single time you're speaking is the groupthink aspect. And it's interesting, like, there are so many opinions out there now with social media, with all of the different things where it's like overwhelming, at least for me, that I've noticed in my own internal body is like, I don't need to hear everybody's opinion on every single detail of every single aspect. So it's really interesting of like, we don't all have to agree. We can be kind and be loving towards one another, and we don't have to have the same viewpoint. That's what makes us all unique and all beautiful. But we're really conditioned to try to all agree on every single detail, or at least it feels that way to me. I don't know if that's totally true, but that's how my perception of it is.
Yeah, and I think where this is useful is people that have maybe grown up feeling quite different. And
Yes.
I know for me, I had like lots of different interests, and sometimes they didn't always seem like they matched up. So, like my faith, my being a Catholic has always been a really big part of my life. And then I went to university, and then there was like cheerleading and going out and having fun. And for people, it's like, but you can't be a Catholic. You're not boring. And you like to go out and have some drinks and you're a cheerleader. And it just, like, in people's minds, it didn't really fit. And I was like, well, which box am I supposed to be in? And actually, I don't want to be in a box. Like, God, my faith is really important to me. And so is having fun and having different friends from all different walks of life that don't necessarily have to believe what I believe. And that's the joy of life. And if you can get past that, okay, they don't exactly believe what I believe, it opens the world up to much more like juiciness and like amazing differences and conversations.
Absolutely. So I want to pull back to what inspired this conversation. It came up with a falling out with a friend of mine in the sense of I had one stance and she had another stance. And the stance that she had, she really was fighting for me to believe what she believed. And I really don't think that's necessary. She got to have her opinion, but I also deserve the respect to have mine. And that wasn't given. And so there's this, at least for me, I feel this conflict for people to not allow people to have their own view. Like it feels almost like a insult. I know from her perspective, what she had shared with me, that it was like I was being mean to her when I wasn't. She just had a different viewpoint. And so I'm curious as I share that, does anything come to you in regards to this topic?
Yeah, what we want for people is to be able to choose their lives intentionally. And a big thing that stops you choosing your life intentionally is this belief that you have to fit in with the people around you. That if some of the stronger characters believe a certain thing and they're really passionate and they really want you to believe it as well, then that automatically means you should and you should follow suit. And that's how you can just slowly over time start to lose who you are. And we want you to question everything in the like, is this what I believe? Do I want to believe that? Thank you for sharing your opinion, but actually, it's not for me. What do I believe instead? So it's like the very beginnings of what is it I believe? Let me be true to myself.
Well, actually, as you were sharing all of that, that helped inspire me. There's this part where when we get into the group think and we get into a space of everybody has to think what I think, we lose the curiosity and like the whole space of, is this a good choice for me or does this not align with me? Like, where does this fit? And so, if we could just be a little bit more open, we don't necessarily have to agree. You don't need to be threatened to agree. But if you can just be open, you can be like, yeah, that really does not land for me and also make it be one of those things where it could potentially. So I think it just in the sense of like always needing to like people agreeing on things, we lose kind of the joy of life of just like of possibility of what could potentially happen with a different viewpoint. It doesn't mean you have to take it, just as it's an option out there for you.
Yeah, so you're saying like I was seeing it from the point of view of you don't have to agree, but then it's
Yeah.
also you can actually be open to agreeing as well.
Yeah, it's all of it. It's you don't have to agree. And in the not having to agree, there is a possibility that you actually could. But when you're so rejecting on like, they have to believe this, it kind of takes it away.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like opening yourself up to all possibilities of who
Totally.
you want to be and what you want to believe.
Yeah. And I think even too, because I'm thinking of a certain situation where I asked someone a question and it really did not like I know myself well enough to like be able to trust. Some people call it gut, I call it my intuition. Like I'm able to hear things and be like, yes, that aligns, no, that doesn't. And as they were speaking, I was like fully rejecting it. But I listened to it and I allowed it that space to really be open to it. So I didn't agree with her, but we moved on. It was okay that we didn't agree with one another. It was just like, I heard her, I heard what she had to say, and it doesn't align with me and fit with my lifestyle and so forth. So to me, it's just, you don't have to agree, and you can be open to possibly agreeing to all of the things.
Hmm.
Going back to your statement, it's not a box. It's not a box. Like it's everything.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think some people have like a leaning towards one way or the other. And what
Yes.
I realized is that I listen to what someone says and I really easily agree straight away. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then there's been a few times where I've gone to my husband and been like, oh, do you know like this and this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm not sure that's true. And he's questioned it. And then he's had me like look up different things, and he sent me different things to listen to. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's equally as convincing. So it's like a muscle that I've really been had to like
Yes.
grow in the not just listening to the first thing that I hear, because I can be really easily persuaded by someone saying things in a passionate way. I'm like, yeah, that must be true. And then some people have the opposite, where they're just trained to not believe something that doesn't automatically align with what they think.
Yeah, it's the shutdown, like absolutely not. So it's finding that beautiful balance between the two of like, don't automatically shut down, be open to hearing things, but it's okay. It's okay to not agree on every single detail.
Yeah. And then what would that give our listeners?
I mean, it would give more space. I know space is this thing I talk about all the time, but it really is this beautiful thing. For me, I think back to who I used to be, and I used to feel so rigid, and it was like I was so moral in all of my beliefs of like, I am right, I'm always right, that kind of thing. And really, that just puts a strain on my own system to always need to be right. So, for our listeners, giving space allows like more nuances to come into the equation and really be able to sit and percolate and really sit in there rather than just always having to be judgmental. I mean, we're always going to go to that, but that's a different topic. But that judgment doesn't have to live in our life. We can open space for they have a view and it works for them. And that doesn't mean mine is wrong. It just mine is right for me. So space is what I want our listeners to take. What do you want our listeners to take?
Yeah, I love that. And the it's like a weight off my shoulders. Like I don't need everybody in the world to agree with me, to like me, to believe what I'm saying, because my people will, and they're my people, and other people won't resonate with me, and that's okay. And it's just this letting go and not then trying to be someone that I'm not.
I love that.
Cool. Cool. All right. That was another episode of The Power of Choosing.
And today's topic was you don't have to agree with me.